What to grow in March? I've picked just 5 great plants that I think you absolutely need to grow right now. Not just edibles, not just flowers, and not just seeds to sow, so that over time you can easily build up your own collection of really high-performing plants that'll work just like a capsule wardrobe for your garden. Plants that are going to give you delicious food, colour, and scent from flowers, and most of all, fill your garden all year round. Once you've grown your own tomatoes, shop-bought ones, they just don't cut it anymore, and I promise that you'll never look back. So let's kick off March with something that I remind you of every single year, but I do think that you'll thank me for the reminder or the push to try this for the first time if it is your first time. If there's one crop that almost every gardener grows, it's tomatoes, and for good reason. They're productive, they're versatile, and the flavour of a homegrown tomato picked from a warm greenhouse is on a completely different level from anything you could ever buy in the supermarket. March is the perfect time to start them from seed indoors. A warm windowsill or a small propagator is usually all you need to get them started. The seeds germinate quickly, they're not too fussy, you can prick them out, and within a few weeks you're going to have nice, sturdy, strong young plants that you can keep potting on before eventually either moving them into a greenhouse to get the extra heat or into a nice sunny outdoor spot once the weather really warms up. Tomatoes come in an enormous range of shapes, sizes, colours, flavours, from tiny sweet cherry tomatoes to big large slicing varieties, so that makes them a great crop to experiment with each year. They're also surprisingly productive. I have found that only a few plants is necessary to give you bowls and bowls of fruit all the way through the summer and into the start of the autumn. So if you're looking for a couple of particularly lovely ones to try, Sugar Grape is a lovely open pollinated variety that is just epic, little perfect red sweet cherry tomatoes. And I always grow an F1 called Rainbow Blend that crops with dozens of little plum-shaped tomatoes in shades of yellow, orange, red, and even pink. Now they do need regular warmth, light, a little bit of heat to make them perform well, good rich compost, and maybe a little bit of protection if you're in a cold enough garden. Use something like a greenhouse, but then you're going to get loads of harvests. For something that's easy to start, really satisfying to grow, and incredibly useful in the kitchen, tomatoes are one of the best crops to sow in March. Don't worry about getting out your pen and paper to note down the specific plants that I'm recommending in today's episode. Instead, all you have to do is head across to my website, niallgardens.com, or follow the link in the description down below for my episode notes. A basic staple crop that everybody knows about, but you don't want to miss out on. Okay, potatoes might be a bit of an obvious one for March, but they're an absolute classic for a reason. Planting seed potatoes at this time of year sets you up for one of the most satisfying harvests in the garden, and they're quick. Early varieties can go straight into the ground or into containers by about the middle to the end of this month after St. Patrick's Day. You'll often, however, see people chitting their potatoes beforehand. That's where you let them sit in a cool, bright place so that the shoots start to form before planting. It's a simple step that helps get them going more quickly once they're in the soil, and it's what I'm doing right now with a plan to get the potatoes planted up in the next couple of weeks once they're really sprouting. They're such a forgiving crop too, whether you grow them in a traditional veg bed, raised beds, large containers, or potato sacks like this. Potatoes are generally pretty easy and productive. As the plants grow, you simply mound soil or compost around the stems to protect the developing tubers. That's called earthing up. But in containers, you don't even need to do that. Just plant them about 15 centimetres from the bottom, fill the container right to the top with compost or soil, and leave them to it. But why do I keep recommending potatoes when they're so, well, normal? Well, it's because only 3 seed potatoes can produce a surprisingly generous crop, and lifting your first early potatoes is one of those moments that reminds you why growing food is so rewarding. There's also a huge choice of varieties, from waxy salad potatoes to flowery roasting types, so you can grow exactly the kind of potato that you like to eat. There are varieties that you simply won't find in the shops, so you can grow something truly special. But if you want my 3 absolute go-tos, Charlotte, Nicola and Pink Fir Apple, I grow all 3 every single year. So for a satisfying crop that's reliable, it's easy to grow, it's easy to harvest, it's fun to grow, potatoes are an unmissable choice for March planting. Hey everyone, super quick one from me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Even in 2026, YouTube still looks at that stuff, and each click that you make or comment that you write down below helps to support me and the channel. Right, back to the plants. If you've never heard of Edgeworthia before, you're about to discover one of the most incredible shrubs that I think you can grow. You know that every month I like to recommend one plant that I've been calling my investment piece, something that might cost a bit more, but is going to give you years of pleasure in the garden. So for something a little bit different, check this out. Have you ever seen one of these before? This is Edgeworthia chrysantha. It's not a quick annual, it's not a fast crop, it's a really striking late winter, spring flowering shrub. Edgeworthia forms this perfect, rounded, woody shrub shape with these smooth, branching stems that just look great in the winter. It has the strangest form because each branch breaks into exactly 3 small branches, but the real highlight comes in late winter and early spring when clusters of these big, chunky, pale yellow scented flowers appear at the tip of each branch. Up close, the flowers are incredible. They hang in these tight clusters formed with loads of little small tubular blooms, and they have a really, really strong sweet fragrance that is gorgeous. You notice it every time you walk past it. This specific cultivar is Honey Sunshine. You can see from the golden yellow, and the whole time I've been sitting here, I've been watching early pollinating insects, really enjoying this. A particularly sought after cultivar as well is called Red Dragon. I have one of those as well, and just look at how standout those flowers are. It's happiest in a sheltered spot like here in the secret garden with well-drained soil and a bit of protection from the strong winds. Once settled in, it's actually fairly low maintenance, and it slowly develops into this beautiful architectural shrub. I think this is an absolute winner. Now, it's not the cheapest plant that you're going to buy, but when you see a mature specimen like this in full flower, it's easy to understand why gardeners like me love this thing. If you're looking to add something really a little bit special into the garden, particularly for late winter and spring, something that stands out, well, Edgeworthia is so well worth considering. Let's take a quick break from all those plant recommendations just for a moment, because I'm partnering again with J. Parker's because I know how much you love their discount codes, and I've got another one just for you. It works across both of their websites. Use jparkers.co.uk if you're in England, Scotland or Wales, and jparkers.com if, like me, you're in the Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland. A lot of people still think of J. Parker's as, I suppose, bulb people, but they've actually got a seriously good selection of plants as well as that. And for this bed that you've never seen before, I'm going to fill it with late winter interest and proper, useful, tough ground cover. Think hellebores like these for those lovely early flowers. For some extra structure and interest, pachysandra, and ferns that are just going to knit everything in together. What I love about buying plants like this is that it's a really smart way to plant a much bigger area without the price getting silly. These little small pots of plants, these are about 7 centimetres. Yes, they don't look like much at first, but tap them open and you'll see that the root systems are really good. They're raring to go, they're healthy, and they're going to bulk up so quickly. So whatever you're planting up, it's a really cost-effective approach. When it comes to any kind of plant material, obviously quality matters. You want plants that are going to arrive healthy, that are already well rooted. You're wanting to check that. And because you get that, then it means that they're going to take off and thrive, not just survive. So without exception, everything that I've had from J. Parker's before is like this, strong and healthy. It's the kind of order that just turns up and you can't wait to get out into the garden with it to start planting. Now, of course, you're going to love this last bit because you can get an entire 15% off your whole order with my discount code Niall15. Browse the J. Parker's website, pick what suits your space or your taste, and get a few plants into the ground because you're really going to thank yourself. Now, I have to work away getting these in over the next few days. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be brilliant. But before I do, let's keep going with the rest of my plant recommendations. This might be maybe one of the more uglier vegetables in the garden, but it's also one of the most delicious. Behind me here is my next crop recommendation. Tucked away under my, well, now quite sad looking calettes, is a slow growing but so worth it crop. Celeriac. Now, celeriac isn't always the first vegetable that people think of growing, but it really is a brilliant crop if you're prepared to start it early, and March is exactly the time to do it. This edible part is the swollen, knobbly root that develops at the base of each plant. It might not win any beauty contests, but the flavour is excellent. It has a lovely, rich, nutty celery taste that works beautifully in soups, mash, and winter roasts. But because it needs quite a long growing season, I start celeriac indoors from seed now. Once the seedlings are large enough, I pot them on. Then they're eventually planted outside, like here, where then they can slowly develop over the summer before being harvested in the autumn and the winter. Now, celeriac does prefer a nice rich soil and steady moisture, but once you've established that, then it's a fairly reliable crop. This year, mine are pretty small because of the dry summer last year. The plants also have what I think is actually quite attractive celery-like foliage that adds a little bit of extra structure to the vegetable bed all the way through the season, and it sits like this through the winter. One of the nicest things though about celeriac is how well it stores. Once you've harvested it, the roots can last for months in nice cool conditions, giving you a dependable ongoing winter vegetable crop when so much else is scarce. Or do what I do and just leave them in the ground all winter and dig them up as I need them. If you're looking to try something a little bit different that rewards patience with great flavour, celeriac is well worth trying in March. I was just starting to cut these back and realised this is the perfect plant to recommend for March. If you want a flower that looks good for months and the bees absolutely love, grow Verbena bonariensis. When people think about growing flowers from seed, particularly in spring, they often focus on growing annuals, but in these pots is the secret weapon, Verbena bonariensis, and it's a brilliant reminder that perennials deserve a place in the mix too. As you can see from the growth habit, they're really tall, airy plants with slender stems, and they're topped with clusters of purple flowers that seem to just float above the rest of the border. It brings height and movement without adding kind of weight and heaviness or density, which makes it incredibly useful in the garden. And since it's so fine, I love dropping it in amongst other plants to add an upper story of flowers. One of its biggest strengths is its flowering period. Once it gets going, it keeps producing flowers right through into the autumn and even into the winter. That long display also makes it a firm favourite with pollinators. Bees and butterflies absolutely love these flowers. And I find that whenever I look at this plant, it's a busy feeding station all the way through the warmer months for insects and also for birds from the seeds. But why am I recommending it now? Because it is incredibly easy to grow in every way. Start it from seed? Yep. Propagate it from cuttings? Yep. Easy as pie. Don't want to propagate it at all? It's affordable and so easy to buy in garden centres. So whatever you choose, once it's established, it's surprisingly tough and drought tolerant. Verbena bonariensis also has a really nice habit of self-seeding, which means that new plants do often appear around the garden the following year, so it makes it a nice, easy way to naturally build up stock if you want it. Otherwise, just remember to weed them out. If you want a plant that adds height, supports pollinators, and flowers for months, this is really one that's hard to beat. Before you go, sowing and planting times do vary from region to region, so remember that you need to look up and understand your own local growing conditions and your last frost date. Now, last month's suggestions from me in this video here are still going to be great if you're growing early in this month, or particularly if you live in a colder area than me. And next month's video is perfect if you want to think ahead, get a head start, or if you're in a warmer area than me. And until next time, see you later.